Cool. So today we are going to be studying a very interesting topic. बहुत मजा आएगा इसमें क्योंकि जब आप लोग खुद यूजेबिलिटी टेस्टिंग परफॉर्म करोगे तो आपको नई नई चीजें पता चलेगी.
So once you have made the designs, how do you test if those designs are good enough or not? If those designs are usable or not? So there are basically three ways to test your designs: qualitative, quantitative, and expert feedback. In qualitative method, you manually select your target audience or potential users and ask them to test your prototype. You ask them to complete a task on your app. For example, you ask them to sign up on the prototype or log in or create a new account, and you basically observe what they're doing on your prototype. Are they able to complete those tasks, or they are stuck somewhere? And then you record those observations, and based on those feedback you iterate upon your designs to make them better. Because you receive a more personalized feedback on your designs, the quality of such feedback is higher, and hence this method is known as qualitative usability testing.
There's a very old story that goes that the first ever handheld device, the first ever mobile phone you can say, or the first ever device that user could use in their hands was a Palm Pilot. Was device. It was not iPhone. It was not iPad. It was not any other Apple product. It was a company called Palm, and उनका पहला product था Palm Pilot, which it was a first handheld device. तो Palm Pilot, because अब imagine करो यार, ये हिस्ट्री बन रही है दुनिया में. उसके पहले कभी लोगों ने हाथ में कोई डिवाइस यूज नहीं किया था डिजिटल. तो दिस कंपनी वाज मेकिंग हिस्ट्री. तो उनको उस टाइम पे ऐसा डिवाइस डिजाइन करना था. अब सोचो उस टाइम पे उस जमाने में ये बनाना. तो अभी तो हमको पता है स्टैंडर्ड साइज स्मार्टफोन का क्या होता है. वी नो के इतना बड़ा स्मार्टफोन होना चाहिए, बट थिंक अबाउट द सिनेरियो जब उनको नहीं पता था. तो व्हाट दे डिड वाज दे क्रिएटेड लाइक अ वुडन ब्लॉक, और उसके ऊपर उन्होंने ऐसी चीज प्रिंट करा के जैसे उनकी स्क्रीन दिखने वाली चिपकाई. और फिर उन्होंने जा जाके लोगों को बोला कि इसको ये पकड़ो, हमारे सामने डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करो कि अगर आपको कैलेंडर चेक करना है, अगर आपको टू डू लिस्ट बनानी है तो आप कैसे करोगे. एंड दे यूज्ड टू चेक देयर बिहेवियर यूजर्स का. तो दे एक्चुअली गॉट इट प्रिंटेड ऑन अ वुडन ब्लॉक जस्ट टू चेक द साइज के कितना बड़ा ये साइज होना चाहिए इसका, इस डिवाइस का. लोग कैसे यूज करते हैं उसको, एक हाथ से यूज करेंगे, दो हाथ से यूज करेंगे, पॉकेट में कैसे रखेंगे उसको. ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स गॉट टेस्टेड. सो यूजेबिलिटी प्रोटोटाइप गोज अ लॉन्ग वे बैक. क्वांटिटेटिव में क्या होता है? क्वांटिटेटिव को कोई एग्जांपल दे सकता है? व्हाट इज क्वांटिटेटिव यूजेबिलिटी, क्वांटिटेटिव टेस्ट?
User surveys.
The you did with housing, when you have three
Sorry.
different strings and you wanted
Hang on, one at a time. Just a minute.
the same when you do with what you did with housing, when you have three different strings and you couldn't decide which one to use.
What is the name of that method? What is the name of that method? What do you call that method?
I mean, it would consider under testing, right?
Okay, we'll come to that. I'll tell you the reason. I'll tell you the name. That is called simple, बहुत simple name. It's called A/B testing.
A/B testing.
What you do is you make आपको confusion है, right? In real world, all the big companies in the world, Amazon, Meta, Instagram, WhatsApp, they are doing continuously A/B testing on you. मैंने शायद पहले भी बताया है. कभी आपको प्लस का आइकन इंस्टाग्राम का नीचे दिखता है, कभी ऊपर दिखता है, कभी लेफ्ट में दिखता है. What they do is, let's say you are confused कि how should our designs look like. So you live two different versions of the same design, or I would rather say of the same features, two different designs of the same feature. You live it for the audience. 50% audience को एक feature दिखेगा, एक design दिखेगा, 50% of the audience को दूसरा design दिखेगा, and after the end of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you conclude कि किस feature के ऊपर ज़्यादा clicks आए, and that becomes your winner. That is quantitative. क्यों quantitative? Because it helps you gather large amount of data. सोच के चलो millions of views, millions of visitors है website पे, तो आपको इकट्ठा millions of website visitors का इकट्ठा data मिल जाता है कि कौन किस पे click कर रहा है. Google Analytics is one such tool for quantitative testing. A/B testing is one such tool. But all of these which help you gather large amount of data on a live website are quantitative. Usability testing is qualitative. Why? Because you only can do it with a handful of users and it's one-on-one. It's more personalized. So the quality of data that you get is higher. Here the quantity is higher, quality might be lower. And then there's an expert feedback, which basically means we have studied about heuristics, right?
Yes, sir.
Heuristics is basically that expert feedback. So basically what happens is, if you do not want to spend a lot of time in usability testing or A/B testing, heuristics is, as I mentioned, heuristics was about shortcuts, that there are some set of rules which you can pass your designs through and check if your designs are following these rules or not. Again, because heuristics are so quick, You cannot expect tremendous results with it. You cannot expect that you would be identifying a lot of issues. But yes, if you have lesser time and nobody around to get help with the testing, you can still go with heuristics. But yeah, these are the three types of testing that you can do.